Hey good people, how you doing? David Taub here, co-creator of NextLevelGuitar.com. Hope all is well, and I hope your guitar journeys are going famously. And what I have for you today is a lesson on my top 6 uses for the minor pentatonic scale. You know, minor pentatonic is probably the most widely used scale across most genres of music, as well as it's probably one of the first scales most people start off with on their guitar journey. Like I always say, knowing the scale is only half the battle. You can know every scale ever created ever by man, right? But if you don't know how to use that scale, if you don't know how to apply it, if you don't know over which chords it works over, which keys and why, right? Then what good is it, right? So application is critical, and that's what this lesson is about. How can you apply it? What are some good uses for it? Because there's a lot, and I'm just going to give you my top 6. Pentatonic, penta meaning 5, minor pentatonic, those 5 notes, the intervals are root, flat 3rd, 4th, 5th, and flat 7th. And just a little bit on soloing strategies first. Remember, when you're soloing, improvising, and jamming, you basically have 2 choices. You could either solo over all the chords in the progression with the same scale. That scale relates to all the chords. So no matter what chord you're playing over, the 1st chord, the 2nd, the 4th chord, the 5th chord, whatever, you're using the same scale over all the chords. That's called what relates to all, and that's what many people choose to solo with, and it's a great place to start. If you want to try to get a little bit of more sophisticated sound, try the second option, which would be treating each chord, what I call treating each chord as a separate event. So over each chord you might be changing the scale or changing the mode, and you're soloing over that chord separately, so you're treating that chord as a separate event from the next chord, right? Both very viable ways. One not necessarily better than the other, they're just different. And they're not mutually exclusive, so you can solo for a while over all the chords and what relates to all, and then you can change it up and solo over the chords independently as a separate event. And you'll hear me mentioning throughout this chords, and what do you be talking about? Chords, we're talking about scales, right? Well, you know, you really need to study the relationship between chords and scales, and that's what will really blow your soloing doors wide open, in my opinion. The relationship, the sounds between the chords and the scale, and what scales you like best, sound best over what chords, right? It's so important when you're jamming, improvising, know the chords you're soloing over. That gives you the full roadmap to the soloing and improvisation options. The key is only a small part of it, but you really got to know the chords. So this first one is all about what relates to all the chords, and that would be when you're in minor key, you could use minor pentatonic over all the chords 99% of the time. So anytime when you see that you're in minor key, you can blast minor pentatonic over all the chords. That relates to all. So that's basically most people's number 1 use for minor pentatonic. Anytime you're in minor key, go with minor pentatonic and blues even. There's a couple exceptions to that, and we can get into the exceptions in a later lesson, but basically minor key, try minor pentatonic and blues over all the chords. Second use for minor pentatonic is more for when you're treating each chord as a separate event, and that is use minor pentatonic over minor type chords. So when you have a minor chord in the progression, a minor 7th chord, a minor 9, a minor 7 flat 5, whatever, minor type chord, try minor pentatonic in that chord's key, right? When you're soloing over each chord as a separate event. So minor key, as soon as you see minor key, minor pen over all the chords, but no matter what key you're in, when you see a minor chord, try minor pentatonic over minor type chords when treating each chord as a separate event. And if you want some more cool things you could do lead guitar wise, click on the link below in the YouTube description box. I'll send you a free video lesson and an ebook. And in the video lesson, I'll show you all kinds of ways to spice up your soloing. And I'll send you an ebook that contains a crazy amount of scale diagrams, more soloing strategies, more lessons. It's great stuff, and I'll send it to you for free. Just click on that link. Third, and probably one of the most popular choices out there, is whenever you're playing over like a 1-4-5 blues progression or a swing or a shuffle or a bluesy shuffle or 7th chords, minor pentatonic works great, and that gives you that real bluesy sound because of those dark minor notes, right? So anytime you hear that, you know, traditional standard kind of right, that 1-4-5, or maybe you hear like more of a shuffle or more like 7th chord kind of thing. But 1, 4, 5, or even that, you know, slow. Anytime you have that 1, 4, 5, swing, shuffle, blues, minor pentatonic works great over all the chords. And that gives you that darker bluesy sound. Another great use for minor pentatonic is in rock jams, and especially over power chords. Minor pentatonic sounds great. So anytime you're in like a rock or blues rock type power chord jam, anytime you see power chords, you have more of a rock type jam, minor pentatonic and blues over all the chords sounds great. So that's 4. If you have a second, please subscribe to the channel. Subscribing to the channel really helps us to keep the content coming. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know how you like this lesson, and let me know what else you'd like to learn and what other lessons you'd like to see. And hey, click the like button. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That really helps also. And again, we so appreciate it. This 5th one I like because it gets you out of just using pentatonic in the same key as the song. So there's other pentatonics that you could play in different keys over the same, same chord progression. So it's kind of like a pentatonic trick. So let's say you're playing like an A minor to a D major change. So you could certainly use A minor pentatonic because we're in minor key like we talked about before, but you could also use the minor pentatonic up a whole step. So in this case, B minor pentatonic will work also. And you could use the minor pentatonic scale up a 5th, which if you're in the key of A, your 5th is an E. So you could use the minor pentatonic scale up a 5th. So basically you're using pentatonic, 3 pentatonic keys, over one progression, which is very interesting. Keep in mind is that when you're in minor key and you know like the Dorian mode will work, you can use 3 pentatonic keys over that progression. And it's really cool because you just have to shift the root notes, but it gives you different sounds, even if you're playing the same lick, because the notes you're playing is a little different. So you get different timbres, and it's a cool little trick to use. I use that a lot. So give it a try. And the 6th thing I like doing with minor pentatonic is doing unique things with it, playing it over chords that you wouldn't normally think would work, and using different key centers and stuff. And there's a ton of different things you could do in this vein. Let me give you one. For instance, let's say you have a G major 7th chord. No matter where you're playing it, G major 7ths are very sweet and jazzy. Normally wouldn't associate the dark minor pentatonic scale with it, but you could find some that will work and give you some really cool sounds. For instance, for this G major 7th, so when you're playing a major 7th chord, try playing the minor pentatonic scale that's up a major 3rd in that key, and it sounds really interesting, and here's why. So if we're in the key of G major, a 3rd, the major 3rd of G, or the 3rd of G, is a B. So play B minor pentatonic over that G major 7th chord, and you get some really interesting sounds. So it gives you some really interesting sounds, and here's why that works. And you could find stuff like this, tons of stuff like that out there, if you kind of peel back the onion a little bit. If you're in the key of G major, those notes are G, A, B, C, E, E, F sharp, G. Right? Now, B minor pentatonic is B, D, E, F sharp, and A. So if you play the notes in a B minor pentatonic scale and relate them back to G major, right? You're adding the third, you're adding the fifth, the sixth, the major seventh, and the ninth, right? The ninth in the key of G is, or the second is at A. And that's a great note, right? And over that major seventh chord, or the sixth, or give you some really, right? And give you some really interesting sounds. Again, there's tons of stuff out there like that, and that's just one of them. My point is that you want to kind of look for these different unique ways to use minor pentatonic, other than your standard just over all the chords in minor key, to get some really cool sounds, to pull your playing outside the box, to give you some different colorful notes to use, and have a lot of fun. Put your top uses in the comments below. Please leave a comment, and if you like the video, click the thumbs up button, and remember to subscribe to the channel. Please, that really helps us to keep the content coming. I hope you like this lesson. If you want some more cool soloing strategies, ideas, click on that link below. I'll send you a free video lesson and an ebook. Tons and tons of scale diagrams and all kinds of cool stuff. You'll really like it. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching over the years we've been doing this. So appreciated. Hey, keep putting those guitars in your hands every day. And remember, your guitar playing is an evolution. Take care and rock on.